pronouncing your name correctly? It's Liana.
Yes, Janani. Yes.
Good job, Melinda. So, how are you, Janani?
I'm doing very well and
So,
excited.
yes, I know I can see that in your face. You're so excited to share your presentation.
Of
So,
course.
but before that, I would like to give a few words about you to the audience, who you are and where are you from. So welcome on stage, Janani Lianagi. So, it's really a beautiful name, Janani. So yes, Janani Lianagi is an executive agile leadership coach with over 16 years of experience in inspiring leaders and teams to embrace agility. As the sole certified team coach in Sri Lanka, accredited by the Scrum Alliance, she combines roles in software engineering projects, project management, and coaching to drive meaningful transformation. At Virtues of Private Limited, she designs agile ecosystems that align culture and strategy. A licensed trainer for certified Scrum courses, Janani has inspired over 1,500 agile aspirants worldwide. Her volunteer work as a global goodwill ambassador integrates agile methodologies into education, enhancing learning outcomes. Oh, yes, that's really a great introduction. Hope everyone will get engaged with your presentation today. So, thank you and welcome on stage. Good luck.
Thank you so much, Melinda, for that refreshing introduction. Isn't that amazing to be introduced and reminded who you are and what your journey? So, thank you once again. Let me share my screen and start the presentation. I hope you all can see my presentation. Okay, so let's get started. Thank you. And hello, everyone. Greetings from Sri Lanka. I am Janani Lianage, and I feel so privileged to share the stage with amazing group of experts. Warmly welcome to Holistic Leadership Agility. This is a personal story and a personal transformation which I went through and I'm going through in navigating through complex change gracefully. 12 years ago, my coach asked me this powerful question which changed my life. And I'm today sharing with you, hoping it will spark an inspiration with you all. Imagine a world where your environment is certain, linear, and comprehensible. How would your thinking and actions differ from how you approach them today? Take a moment to embrace this question and think about it and share in chat, and let's explore your thoughts as we move along. This question was the launch pad for me to shift my perspective on uncertainty and complexities in the modern world, and it empowered me to embrace a holistic, agile leadership approach to lead with grace. And this is my story. While sharing this story, I would like to emphasize on three key areas, that is the leadership challenge in modern era, how leaders navigate through challenge gracefully, and holistic agile leadership approach to lead with grace. And I would love to be connected. Feel free to scan these QR codes to be connected in LinkedIn. 12 years ago, I was going through a career transition from software engineering to coaching. I listened to my inner voice that I want to work more with people and craft creative experience for them rather than coding and spending more time with computers. So I left my lucrative engineering, software engineering career and joined a global IT services organization headquartered in US as an agile coach to coach engineering teams and engineering leaders. What is agile and who is an agile coach? Let me take you through in a moment. Like many other organizations, this organization was also facing countless challenges with the modern complexities in the business era. The market, the business, and the customers were so brittle and fragile, and it was so difficult to predict things, which kept most of these leaders and teams so anxious. And the challenges that they faced was not linear at all. It was so difficult to predict what's going to happen next. And with all these things, it was incomprehensible to map all these diverse complexities and come up with a structure or a map to work effectively. And as many organizations, this organization also trying to react to these challenges rather than responding. For example, they were trying to come up with the rigid hierarchies to battle the brittleness, hoping it will give them control. And the anxiousness, they were trying to work more and more in silos in their own business units or in their own departments, thinking that they can live in their own shells so they don't have to deal with the complexities of other departments. And they started micromanagement and strict adherences to rigid processes, hoping it will give them predictability. And finally, to deal with the incomprehensibleness, they started creating unnecessary compliance and documentation overhead, hoping that it will give them clarity. But it's not going to work that way, and the organization had to pay a big price. The teams were exhausted, the clients were going distant, and most importantly, they were losing the entrepreneurship, which was crucial for them to scale and diversify their business. So the leadership knew that they need a change. They need a new ways of working, new ways of thinking, like sports teams. Sports teams, may it be whitewater rafting or rowing or football, they have this inherent ability to sense, to respond, and adapt to changes. So, our transformation, the agile transformation, started globally, and the first spark was from Sri Lanka. There, I had a chance to become one of the first agile coaches in Sri Lanka. So they were aspiring to replace this rigid hierarchies with flexible networks of interactions and work in silos replaced by customer and team collaboration, micromanagement with responsive, self managed teams, and compliance overhead with adaptive solutions and continuous value delivery. Wow. So nice to hear things, but it's easier said than done. This was a massive change. This was a massive systemic change, and it's all about, in one word to say, this change is about embracing agile mindset. You can check this more about this agile mindset in the Agile Manifesto. So it was a huge systemic change. It was a huge systemic change. And our vision was to enabling diversity and scale via alignment and agility. And if you look at how complex this change was going to be, like we need to be taking care of the individual transformation, the enterprise transformation, the leadership transformation, and the team transformation while dealing with all this brittleness, the anxiousness, and the non-linearity and incomprehensible complexities. And I myself got so anxious because I was going through a career transition myself from coding to coaching. And once I told with my coach, it's so hard to take all this uncertainty and complexity, and I keep ignoring my health. I drink a lot of caffeine, and I don't work out now as I used to go to gym, and I don't do that anymore. And this was the time my coach asked me, imagine a world where your environment is certain, linear, and comprehensible. How would your thinking and actions differ from how you approach them today? And I remember I said something like this: wow, I'm going to have another hazelnut latte, which is my favorite, and go to sleep. That was my first reaction when he asked this from me. And my coach smiled and said, wow, that's great. But I thought you were planning to go to the gym. And it was so funny. And the the answer that I gave kept reverberating in my own mind. And the conversation ended there. I went home, but this question and my own answer for this started haunting in my mind for several days. And I went back to my coach and had series of, how would I say, thought provoking conversations. And there I understood the Barney challenges, the Barney world in this modern era is not that stuck me or not that stuck leaders or organizations. It's my playfield, it's their playfield to discover themselves, their comfort zones, their limitations, and especially to discover our inherent ability to be agile as human beings. That shifted my perspective, and I started feeling that I have a purpose to serve, a higher purpose to serve that is much more bigger than my role and my title in this organization and in this world. To help people to go through Bani gracefully and discover their own agility. So, a month later, I started my first coaching mission to coach a group of change leaders in the organization, to onboard them as change champions and come up with a strategy for organizational transformation. Our whole program, our whole coaching program, it was a long running coaching program. It was themed around the redwood trees. I hope that you have heard or seen about these amazing trees, which I'm longing to visit one day. Redwood trees are one of the most oldest and tallest trees on this planet, and most importantly, an epitome of diversity and agility. If you look at these redwood trees, outside there are diverse group of trees and a home for rich and diverse wildlife ecosystem. But inside they are one single organism, one unit, because their roots are intertwined with each other. And these roots are taking care of each other by sharing nutrients. And these roots are holding so strong the tree to the ground so they can grow strong and long. Since they share the nutrients and take care of each other, this trees shows a phenomenal amount of agility by being able to sense, respond, and adapt to even harsh climate conditions. That's how they live so long and strong. So, as you can see, redwood trees was a beautiful metaphor for diversity, alignment, and agility. Our coaching program was themed, that's why our coaching program was themed around the redwood trees. So, leaders going through a transformation, driving transformation, have to be transformative by themselves. They need to create fine balance in their heart and the backbone. That means they need to create fine balance in being and doing. More you be, that means more you create more and more deep awareness and mindfulness in you. that will help you to do more things better and effectively, which we call co-active. Co means being, active means doing, and you need to integrate these two. You can't just do things, but you can't just be things, and you need to be doing and being. So, coactive leadership is a beautiful model for this holistic nature of this transformative leadership. Coactive leadership was the profound leadership model that we use to coach these transformative change leaders. And it talks about 5 ways to lead: lead within, lead from front, lead behind, and lead from the field and lead beside. What does this mean? Well, I will share you with my own story as an agile coach, as well as how I used this when I was coaching my change leaders in that organization. What do you mean by the leader within? The leader within is the conscious leader. The conscious leader is a pathfinder who lights the way by first discovering their own purpose, your own calling, and inspiring others to discover and walk their own unique journey. You need to find your North Star. And no matter what, then you don't feel like quitting, because more you know your North Star, you can embrace and condense your energy in your journey. So you have to be lead within, first of all, like a conscious leader. And then you need to ask, as a conscious leader, am I ready to leave the harbor to explore new lands? As an executive agile leadership coach, when I was driving this transformation, I had to go through different avenues and work with diverse stakeholders. It was scary initially. I would love to be harbored in my comfort zone, but the ships are not meant to be in the harbor. So I have to ask myself, what are the hidden fears weighing me down in my journey? What anchors I want to set free? That helped me a lot as a conscious leader. And then you have to be a leader behind, like a coach. The coach is like a gardener, nurturing and cultivating the growth of those people around them. Because change is a personal choice. People change if you want to. So, how do I empower my teams? Choose the change by creating spaces to connect, challenge, and celebrate change. You can't force people to change. You need to create environments so people can think differently and work differently. That's how you inspire change rather forcing it. And there, the leader act as a gardener by creating platforms and spaces for your teams to grow and thrive. And leader in front, like a catalyst. Catalyst is like an orchestra conductor who amplify and harmonize the diverse talents and voices, guiding them through the vision to create symphony of collective achievement. You can't be saying, I'm the expert, follow me. Instead, you need to activate the common sense and collective intelligence in the room. As a catalyst, you need to ask yourself, how do I amplify and align dynamic voices around strategy and execution? This is crucial when driving this transformation, because your strategy has to be day to day implemented in your business as usual. Creating this fine balance, you need to amplify and align your team members. And then leader as beside. It's not just about leading from front. You have to be beside, like a collaborator, like a dancing partner, moves beside the team, creating a rhythm of trust, collaboration, and enable systemic change. And you need to constantly ask yourself, as a leader, how could I create space for empathy, collaboration, and growth in my teams? If you can see, there are certain KPIs, matrices, and certain processes that hinders people to really transform and really collaborate as agile teams. So you need to really ask, how do I create this space for empathy and collaboration? And finally, the leader in the field, the creator. The creator is like an alchemist of transformation, unafraid to break the model, break the mold, and defy the conventions. You should be able to constantly explore and revalidate and not fear to change when it's necessary. And you are keep on exploring, and this is the only way that you can bring innovation for your transformations as a leader. So you need to ask constantly as a alchemist, how can I stay curious rather than getting confused and fearless to push the boundaries when driving change? Am I ready to challenge my own realities? So, this is my story, and this is what I learned from going through all the changes and challenges when driving this global agile transformation in the organization, that is to embrace holistic agile leadership. You can't stick to say, I'm going to be like this or I'm going to do like this. You can't compartmentalize your life or your profession to few segments and say, I will finish this and go to next. I will finish my transformation and go to gym. I will finish my project and or I finish my keynote and go to gym. You need to embrace yourself as a whole and dance with different leadership approaches that you work with. And that is holistic agile leadership. And that will truly help you to navigate through the change gracefully because each of these roles are taking care of each other, like the redwood trees take care of their roots by sharing nutrients. I started appreciating different roles that I play as an entrepreneur, as a coach, as a CEO, as a team lead, as a public speaker, as a keynote speaker. Initially, it was overwhelming with the uncertainty and complexity I faced. But as I learned and create a deep awareness that these challenges, this uncertainty and complexity is there for me to grow, I started appreciating each of the roles that I play, and I saw how these roles are nicely dancing with each other. That's how I see the holistic agile leadership. So remember, you also have a conscious leader, a coach, a catalyst, a collaborator, and creator. You already have it because we human beings have an innate ability to be agile. That's how we transformed from Stone Age to digital age. We have it. But sometimes our own mental debris not allowing to see our agile leader. So I invite you to reconnect with yourself, listen to your inner leader, and you will see an adaptive, sensitive, sensible, and responsive leader is already there. It's about tuning that agile leader for you to lead with grace. Holistic agile leaders do not force change. They change, they create spaces for people to connect, challenge, and choose the change. And that's what I try to do every day. If you don't see me here, that's the whole intention because I try to create spaces by being the change myself. I be the change and create space for people to connect, choose the change, and most importantly, celebrate the change. That way that you can lead the change, lead the world gracefully. And thank you so much again for giving me this 25 minutes to live my passion, live my purpose, that is, to create creative spaces for people to connect, learn, and choose the change. And I truly enjoyed delivering this session with you. And I would love to see if there are any questions and thoughts. Let's see what's there. I would stop sharing and see whether there are any questions and thoughts. Beautiful. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. So I think I have about 2, 3 minutes, and if there are any questions, I'd love to hear from you all. And please feel free to connect through LinkedIn. Let me share my LinkedIn profile as well here. Right. Thank you so much. I would stay here for a few minutes if there are any questions. And again, I would love to see you once again in another session like that. Hi, Melinda.
Yes, Janani. Obviously, there are a lot of questions for you, Janani. You inspired with your presentation today. So, your speech to the audience, and yes, we do have a question from our audience. So, lot of questions, but I picked up the best question for you. So, what were some of the biggest obstacles or resistance you faced in getting the organization to embrace the new agile mindset? And how did you work to overcome those challenges?
Beautiful. I tell again a real world example here. One of the biggest challenge was like working in silos. People were comfortable. So I'm talking about the IT industry that I worked. People were comfortable working in their own spaces and silos. And how it was changed, I share an example. So in this particular software organization, there were software engineers and quality assurance engineers, right? So there were software engineers and quality assurance engineers. They worked in two different flows, I would say, right? So software engineers, they simply code, they do the programming, right? And the quality assurance engineers, they used to test the code, right? So what happens is now they were working in so much silos, and their leaders also, software engineering leaders also in their own silos, and testing leaders also in their own silos. So the first thing, we did so much of trainings that didn't work. Training alone is not going to work the problem, right? So we did training that didn't work. And one of the biggest challenge again was their KPIs. The software engineers, their KPI was lines of code. More they program, more they write lines of codes, they are productive. And quality assurance engineers, more they find bugs in the code in software engineers, they were productive. Think about, would they ever collaborate? Would they ever collaborate? Think about, I am a software engineer. I don't want to even go to the quality assurance engineer, because if I go and collaborate, they will find bugs in my code. Or the quality assurance engineer who's deemed to find bugs would never come and support me to do better coding, because if I do better coding, you might not find bugs and your productivity goes low. You see, sometimes it's management, KPIs, OKRs, and there are big words. Sometimes you do it with a purpose, but it was not the right purpose. Sometimes it's management KPIs, the rewarding mechanisms, and performance management policies really hinders for you to collaborate and be more agile. So one of the biggest changes that we did, we literally closed all those departments and it took 3 years, right? It took 3 years, but people start working in very transparent cabins where the developer need to work with the quality assurance engineer, and they were given shared KPIs, shared rewarding mechanism. And that's how it all started. Shared goals and shared vision. We need to do simple, practical things that make sense for the business as usual. That way, you can do strategic changes. So that was my experience, Melinda. Well, if there are any more questions.
Generally for the great presentation and true presentation. And yes, you got a lot of comments from the audience. I think you can see that. So thank
Yes,
you so
yes.
much for sharing your valuable presentation with Global Virtual Summit 2024. So I want you to join other speaker
Of
sessions as
course.
well and share your thoughts and share your questions with them. So show some love. So thank you. Please join our next speaker presentation. Thank you, Shanani.
Thank you so much, everyone. It was really great connecting with you all. Thank you.